The average Melbourne household uses about 260,000 litres of water per year. Now that averages out at a little over 700 litres of water per day. Now that is a lot of wastewater, but by using grey water, it's a really smart way to make your garden look really good without having to rely on tap or tank water. But if you are using grey water, there's just a few things that you should or shouldn't do. Because if you don't get it right, it's possible to damage plants, soil, and even put your pets and children at risk. Now that's because grey water can contain chemicals and bacteria, which in the wrong place can cause problems. Okay, so what exactly is grey water? Grey water is the wastewater from the bath, shower, hand basin and washing machine. It doesn't include water from your toilet. Don't use kitchen wastewater, including from the dishwasher, because it has a high concentration of food wastes and chemicals which can damage soils and plants. A grey water system can be as simple as a bucket from the shower or a more complex plumber-fitted system. Before installing a permanent grey water treatment or reuse system, be aware that each council has its own set of rules and regulations, and that the system also needs to be EPA approved. Alright, so now for a few safety tips. You need to be aware that grey water can contain pathogens and disease-causing organisms, but if you stick to a few simple rules, then using it on the garden is quite safe. Now the first of those rules is to make sure you don't store that water for more than 24 hours. So try and use it straight away, because apart from the smell, bacteria can actually multiply in grey water quite rapidly. Now the second tip is that if anyone in the household's got the flu or measles or a stomach bug, then make sure you stop using grey water for that period of time, because it can actually increase the chance of the germ spreading to others. So keep your grey water safely away from pets, children and people, and use it where the plant needs it most, directly at the root zone. Now that means that the best irrigation systems are those that apply water, again, directly to the root zone. So that's things like your drip irrigation systems, which can easily be covered by mulch. And don't hose or spray grey water around the garden, because you're just spreading those chemicals and bacteria, and you can also burn your plants. So make sure you rotate which areas of the garden you're watering, and don't overdo it, because you don't want patches of grey water lying around. Also make sure the grey water doesn't run off into stormwater drains or into neighbouring properties, and make sure you wash your hands after using it. And just be aware that your neighbours have the right to lodge a complaint with your local council if your grey water does spill onto their property. So to be safe, allow a buffer zone between your irrigation system and the edge of your property. Avoid using it on the herb or vegetable garden, especially if the crop is to be eaten raw. Cooking helps protect against any harmful bacteria that may end up on the surface of the plants. Now, grey water is wastewater, but you can dramatically increase the quality of that water by doing a little bit of careful planning. For example, thinking about the type of detergent that you're using in your washing machine. Now look for one that's garden safe. In other words, it's low in phosphorus and it's low in salt. That way the water will be safe to use on your shrub beds and borders. Switch off your grey water system if you're bleaching or washing dirty nappies, and distribute the water over a large an area as possible to dilute salts and nutrients across the whole garden. Okay, let's take a look at this simple checklist to make sure you're doing everything right when it comes to grey water. Are you using grey water straight away? Are you using garden safe detergents? Is grey water pooling or running off the property? Are your plants still looking healthy? And is your soil changing in any way?